Well, hello, you awesome and amazing people. Lenny Wennerstrom with you. And today I am reading for June 29th. This is a passage for the 29th. It's day 181, 185 days left. And for the 29th, it's 185 days. I already said 185 days left, but it's 49.45% complete, 2024. So we're coming up on the middle of the year and being first quarter gone, second quarter gone, on to the third quarter. So very, very exciting. So let's read. I read a passage. Why I come here every single day is to help you to find your purpose. Really, really importante for me to do that. I want to make sure I see a world where when everyone has their purpose, they know where they're going, what they're doing. There's no compare-itis. There's no competition. And I'm not talking about friendly competition of, I don't even know if there's friendly competition because that creates separation, but truly like finding like what you're really good at and shining at it. Doesn't mean that somebody else doesn't shine as well. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you don't, but I do. It took me a while to think like that. Because I thought, well, I used to think, well, if there's a winner, somebody has to lose. And I just don't believe that anymore. I think the way the 3D world is set up, that somebody loses. And this whole thing of everyone gets a trophy, like that's not a way to go either. Because then no one's trying. It's really excel at being you. Excel at finding out who and what you really are, and excel at that. So on the 28th, what I had said, which would have been yesterday's, although I'm doing this on another day because I'm making up this one because I wasn't feeling very well on the actual June 29th. so I took a day off. But I'm going to read this passage. But what I had said was that we're going to talk about expectations because my coach had, because she had mentioned, I have been flummoxed with, okay, what is an expectation? I mean, I get what an expectation is, but when is it right? When is it okay to have an expectation? Or, like just what about expectation? I don't know if that has ever been a question for you, but it has been a question in my mind for many, many years. And I'm still going through it, but I'll tell you what she said, which I thought was really good. So June 29th, here's your passage, and I read as a tool to help you find your purpose. I read with Dr. Shad Helmstetter's blessing. I read a passage every single day from his book, 365 Days of Positive Self-Talk for Finding Your Purpose. It's just like the passages, the phrases, the positive self-talk phrases you'll find in the description for getting that self-talk app, which is a language. Not the app is a language, but the self-talk that Dr. Shad Helmstetter put together. It is a language, a full verbs and really what it is. It's a language for the brain. It tells you, it tells your brain exactly what it is that you want. It's very specific in those phrases, and they're repeated 3 different ways, and they're repeated 3 times and 3 different ways, and it always the foundation of it. It's very foundational in and of itself for humans having success in every single area of their life, because as a foundation and basic of it is your self-esteem, and it really lifts you and talks to you about how unique you are. And there's only one of you in this world. There's only you have this lifetime, and so this compare-itis thing to me, and I used to compare myself all the time. And it's not like, oh, now I don't ever compare myself. Because I do. And it's a very deep program, but I don't do it as often, and I catch myself. I am super aware. It's like, oh, there goes that old program. Let's work on that a little more. But truly, for me, it's like seeing the contrast. It's like, wow, I don't want to compare myself to that. I'm good over here, and that's okay. And I just, that doesn't come around very often. I just would be, I wouldn't be being honest if I didn't say that didn't come up every once in a while. There's a lot fewer things that come up since I've been doing the self-talk, a lot, because your self-esteem goes, whoop, it goes up. It really goes up. You start really understanding, plus all the work you start understanding who and what you really are and what you're made of, and that you can be a very determined person, and that you can do and be absolutely anything, and that you are unlimited. And when you start really believing in self, because it's all about believing in self. And if you can believe in yourself, just like when you were really little, you believed in yourself and you had all these imaginary little friends. And I don't know exactly what you had. I know I did. I had little people. I called them little peeperoos in the closet. Well, I call them little people in the closet. And I saw them, like they lived there. I would open that closet, and the linen closet way at the back, and I'd go and I'd have conversations with these little people, and I'd have little people on the radio. And in fact, I took a radio apart looking for those little people. I did not find them, and my daddy was very, very upset with me, because it was the family radio. We didn't have a lot of money. And when I saw look like little bass drums and all kinds of those little parts in there, I got real happy moving them, and so I took apart the radio. So anyway, that's really funny. That makes me laugh, because when I had I was a co-host, morning personality on a radio show, and maybe I'll put the link here to it. But anyway, I put it all together. Like, I took from the whole year, I took all the best clips that I thought were the best and put them together. And so we won, like, for a large market, we won the best morning show of that, with all the clips that I put together. But where I was going with that is, when I said I took apart the radio, it was like, well, for God's sake, you took apart our career. It was just really funny. I was gonna say you'd have to be there, but I'll put the link in here. Maybe you can see, if you're interested, you can see. What year was that? 2000 and when did we win? I think it was 2003. It was a long time ago. 2004. So long time ago. But anyway, it won the best morning show for a large market, which was really nice. So, and I felt really good about it, because I took all the pieces. It took me months and months and months to put it all together and get it really small, to just, I think, like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, whatever it was. But yeah, if you listen to it, you'll see where I'm talking about. I say I took apart the radio. I was like, for God's sake, you took apart our career. But anyway, I did. I took apart the radio looking for those little people. And so when we're little, we have all these little imaginary friends and thoughts, and we can be, we have this idea that we can be anything. And as we grow, it's kind of taken away from us, because we have to grow, and we have to turn into this or that. And it's sad, because I don't believe that has to be. I don't believe that any longer. So I believe very, very much that we have not even tapped into the unified field at all. Like, it's so much more than we are, and we are a part of that. And so when we start to believe, and the more that I believe, the more I see what's happening even in my own life. And it's magical, but it's not, because I'm directing. But yet it's magical, because I'm still in the 3D world, and I'm still touching, tables, and I can see myself, and I can put makeup on my face, and that I can touch, and I can have all these emotions and feelings, and sometimes not so good ones, but I can come back very quickly. The more, sorry, my nose is itching. There's pollen everywhere. All the pine trees are just, I don't know if you can see it, but they're literally, the pine is, see the pollen on the table? I gotta clean it. Anyway, so there's a lot of pollen everywhere. I don't know if that's what's doing it, but it wasn't bothering me till I came on camera. So anyway, so let me read this to you, because this is a really good one for today. I love it so immensely, because Dr. Shad has such a way with words, and he believes in every single one of us. He believes in you. He believes in me. He believes in himself. And, and it's people like that believe in us. And when we believe, like I believe in you and you believe in me, and when the more and more of us that are believing in one another, we just lift, like we raise the frequency, like we're raising our own frequency. We're raising the frequency. We're literally vibrating at a higher frequency. And as part of the whole, because we are a part of the whole, what are we doing for the whole? We're lifting the whole. It seems like, oh, I'm just me doing this or that. No, it's not just you doing this or that. It's you are part of the whole. doing this or that, whatever this or that is. And hopefully if you're raising your frequency, you're helping to raise the frequency of the entire everything, consciousness. You're raising the frequency. So it's a really empowering thing when you think about it, just how very powerful you really are. Each of us is very, very powerful. You were born on this planet with unlimited promise and potential. And that promise and potential with the brain, and now we're talking the 3D world, but the brain, that is still there with those programs. Those are programs that can be rewired, wired over. Neuroplasticity is your ticket to changing the way you think. And this is why I put for in my practical spirituality, which I teach, the two parts, because the human experience, the spiritual journey, which is beautiful and amazing, yet it is that human experience and the human experiment that that is the part that can, when like rewiring, using Dr. Shad's app, which is in the description, when you rewire your brain to believe in self, because you actually start, you do rewire your brain and you start having more self-esteem and start believing in self and all of that just through listening, because it's talking to the brain, it's programming you, just like the way you learned to speak English or whatever language that you were born speaking with your family, because you didn't, like I always say this, you didn't go to, baby crib school. you just were laying there and people came to you and oohed and awed and said things to you, and pretty soon you said your first word, and then you said a first sentence, and and you made connections to what things were, and all of that, and you learned passively. Until you started speaking, and then that became active, but you learned all of those things passively. And that's what this is what Dr. Shad has created, is this language, which is just built of very, very positive, empowering, uplifting phrases, but very specific phrases to help you to help each of us to have strong self-esteem, to believe in ourselves, to take control of our lives, rather than playing the victim to life's circumstances and situations and other people and all of that. So it's really, really powerful. And then when you go on to do meditations and work like Joe Dispenza's work, which I absolutely love and have been doing that for quite a while. In fact, I started doing one of the I'm on week 2 of doing the blessing of the energy centers, and I mean doing it every day, which I hadn't been doing, and doing, he's got some morning and evening, and he has a bunch of different ones. But another neuroscientist, and if you don't know who Dr. Joe Dispenza is, but it's deeper work, and it's more active, it's not passive. And to me, this is the difference between Dr. Shad's work and someone, say, like Dr. Joe Dispenza and others. Because when you're into meditation and you're very actively changing your brain, changing your biology, changing, like literally changing, you are changing you're changing who you are. And it's really amazing. Anyway, Dr. Shad's work is so passive. You literally are just, it's passive with rewiring your brain. The active comes in, like if you were to work with me, the active part would come in with the goal setting and the changing those mental programs and really catching, like being very aware, monitoring what you're saying, editing what you're saying. So that becomes the active part. But when you're rewiring, it literally is just passive, like a language, learning, and then you put it, and then you start getting active with it, with actually believing it, walking the walk, starting, testing it out, seeing how it works for you. It's pretty amazing. Like it's, to me, Dr. Shad's work is where I would suggest that anyone start, unless they were, they were meditating a lot. But for someone who has low self-esteem, or is just starting out, or isn't real spiritual, or doesn't consider themselves to be very spiritual, or they consider themselves to be spiritual, yet they're just consumed with lack. They live in a place, the 3D world, and feel like they don't have the right job and they feel a victim of things and situations and circumstances, then for that person, I would highly recommend that they do Dr. Shad Helmstetter's. Start there. I think the two together, whoever would be doing it. I mean, I'm a fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza as well as Dr. Shad Helmstetter. I consider them both mentors. Dr. Shad is definitely my mentor, and I'm, and obviously I'm trained and certified in the self-talk training and in his life coach program. I believe that he's an incredibly quality person. So, boy, I've gone on and on. So anyway, I just really believe that together we can change this world and make it such an amazing place to be. And I haven't even gotten to I was going to talk about the expectations. So hopefully you didn't have an expectation. My hubby said, well, you can talk to them about having an expectation that you were going to show up. That was yesterday because I didn't feel good. So today I'm doing it for June 29th. And let me read this passage for you, and then I'll talk. It's not very much, but it just gives some idea about expectations, which gave me some food for thought. So, when I think about quitting or giving up on something important to me, and I know I should keep going, I take time to get my thinking right. I remember my purpose. I regain my focus. I choose to make things work, and I come back stronger than ever. How powerful is that? This is very, very empowering. I'm going to turn it around. This is what we do. Turn it around. When you think about quitting, because this is your higher self talking to you now. Like, this is you speaking to you. You could say, like, you might say, you get up now. You need to get up, and you need to get going and motivate yourself. You need to eat right. And you might be speaking to yourself like that. That's your higher self, right? You're speaking to yourself. If you say, I need to get up and get going and all of that, then that's you, right? That's your conscious self. So this is you speaking to you, and so, but now I'm going to spin it around to the second person. So it's like your higher self speaking to you. When you think about quitting or giving up on something important to you, and you should keep going, you take time to get your thinking right. You remember your purpose, you regain your focus, you choose to make things work, and you come back stronger than ever. And yes, you do. Yes, you do. Okay, so that is for today, and for the 29th. And now I'm going to tell you just a little bit about expectation. I took notes. I always take notes in my coaching calls because I don't want to forget. She has so much, my coach. She's been with Dr. Shad for over 40 years. He's been doing everything for close to 40 years, however long it's been. She's been with him since the very beginning. And so it's just, and then she's very, very much in, say, fifth dimension, I believe. She just, you call it spiritual, but very much into the spiritual, as I am, and I love it. I learn a lot from her, and she guides me very, very well. So, but what she talked about expectation, she was talking about, if an expectation, if she's thinking something like that's not going to please me, then, when you have an expectation of someone or something like that, then she says it's setting up for limitation and setting up something getting in the way. So the word limitation, when she said that, I wrote that immediately because that limitation, when you have an expectation of something, it's really interesting because if you say this is exactly the way I want it to be, and this is how it's going to be, that leaves no room open for universe to come in, and this is why I say everything is a message to me for positive change, because when you use that mantra, but you know it and you believe it, and to me that's a very true thing. It could be like the worst thing happening, and I've told you, I've shared some things that have happened in my life that could be perceived as like, oh my gosh, how horrible, like that's a horrible thing that you would have to go through, and when you look at it as saying there's something better around the corner, there's really something better around the corner. One, it doesn't seem so horrible or difficult, or that you are not able to control. you know that there's a some for the other part is that you chose it. Like I know that I chose it for the lesson or whatever that was supposed to happen. There's a bird, a bug flying around, but I know I chose it. So that's the first part of that. And then the second is that there's something better around the corner. And every single time that's exactly what happens. Now, could that be manifestation? That you are putting it out there and you're manifesting because you're directing? Yes, I think it's all of that. So that expectation, if it has limitations on it, like, oh, I really wanted it to be this way, I want it, or you say this is the way it's going to be, you there's limitations on it, and you don't allow for universe to like know exactly what's highest and best for you, and or for that whole situation. So it's very, very interesting that. So the other thing, she had talked about leaving it open for the divine arrangement of how it can play out. And then the other thing I had asked is like, if you have an expectation of a partner or someone that has said that they were going to do something and then they don't do it. She had it was, she kind of turned it, like she didn't turn it around on me, but what she said was something like, that you don't have any control over that. Like you don't have any control over that person or that situation or anything. And so it sets up for frustration and aggravation. And as we all know, and my hubby used to always say, he doesn't say it anymore, but he used to always say, don't have any expectations and you won't be disappointed. And it's true. But then I always thought, but what about if you've had an agreement with somebody, or you had roles and like at work or something, and this person's supposed to do this and then they don't do it, and then you had an expectation, and it's just always like, that's an expectation, is that wrong? And agreed upon. But what she said about that, she said, she said something like, how many times have you been accused of not meeting what you said you were going to do? Because there's like a reflection back on you, like the person is reflecting. I was like, wow, I didn't expect that one. And then and then she also said that, so it's something to look at, even if it's you that hasn't kept your word to you, which I thought, yeah, that makes sense. That would be a real good reflection, because it always points back to you. And it could be a teaching moment or a learning moment. But the last part of that she said was, you don't know, like they didn't keep their word, but the circumstance, like when does compassion need to come into that? Because you don't know, like what was going on in their life, that they didn't keep up with that, and that you could always turn it into something beneficial, something positive, something, and you can do that with anything, but that was just a different take, all of that for me. I mean, I get that. Don't have, if you have expectations of someone. But I thought that was really interesting about that reflecting back to me, and how many times have you not kept your own word to yourself? And it's like, oh, there's kind of a lot of those. Not so much anymore, but there used to be, So I thought that was interesting, and I thought that I'd share that with you, because maybe there's a little golden nugget in there for you as well. So I always love hearing others' perspectives on things, and expectations has been one that has, for years and years, it's like, that's the one question that I always like to ask people what they think. Like, what's an expectation, and how do you, people who are more advanced than I am, they're spiritual, the way that they think about it, because before I would have said, well, yeah, you should have an expectation. If somebody agreed to do it, then they should do it. And so it's just all of that was really interesting, especially the reflection back. So I love you so very, very much. You can do this. You can find your purpose. I know I've gone on and on a little bit longer today, and on my catch-up one. Yeah, I'm catching up. So I hope that you enjoyed that, and I'm going to read this one last time, because I don't want it out of your consciousness. It's this is huge. Determination on planet Earth. We live on a very dense planet. You look at the frequency of like really high frequencies, and then you look like planet Earth and you see all the waves, like the wave and the particle, and you see it coming down. And I'm in my head, I'm looking at Dr. Joe Dispenza's from the what's Becoming Supernatural, and he shows like all this is all measured, like it's all measured. And it's so you have the wave, which is just the wave is totally, everything is like peace and love and high frequency, very high frequency. And then you get lower and lower and lower and lower, and you like 3D planet Earth, and where there's the material world. And at some point when you're coming down, the wave actually breaks apart, because it's not all together, it's not vibrating exactly at the same, something like a thought will disrupt it or something, because our thoughts are things. I think our thoughts are electrical, like they will, I don't think, they are electrical. And I think, and the heart, I keep saying I think because, and the heart is magnetic. It might be our thoughts are magnetic and the heart is electrical, but I'll figure that one out. I gotta go read that again. I don't know why, I just kind of got a little, very unlike me to not have that down, which I always have until now. But anyway, the no matter what, there's a disruption, and then that wave gets broken into and creates like material, like becomes a particle. So you have the particle in the wave, and this is how you manifest, like literally through your thoughts. Your thoughts are things. Your thoughts are energy. You are creating. It's not a difficult concept to, when you, especially, I think the reason I love Dr. Joe Dispenza's work so much is because it's so measured. He's done so much work on, and actually measuring people who are meditating and seeing where they're at, and where the beta and gamma and the delta and all, like where they're at and how they're, and when they heal themselves, like people who just have these spontaneous remissions, they just heal themselves so quickly. And I see other things with Dr. Joe, with Dr. Shad Helmstetter. I see, that you just have these breakthroughs of all of a sudden you just believe in yourself. The breakthrough of all of a sudden you're not afraid to that you believe in your worth, and that you believe that you are able to create the financial strength that you want to. Like it's the brain, yet you're working at such a high frequency. You're working with love. You're not working with, and you're not coming from a place of lack. You're coming from a place of abundance. And when you come from a place of, the universe is abundant. We live in an abundant universe. So, okay, we went into practical spirituality, which that's my part. What I read to you is Dr. Shad Helmstetter's, that's his contribution to this. The rest is mine, so I don't want to put words in his mouth, just so you know. Okay, so June 29th, when I think about quitting or giving up on something important to me, and I know I should keep going, I take time to get my thinking right. I remember my purpose, I regain my focus, I choose to make things work, and I come back stronger than ever. And yes, you do. I love you so very, very much. Or you can find your purpose. You can activate it. If you know what it is, you can engage in it. You can get skills in it. You can become it. You can become all of it, whatever it is that you want. I love you so very, very much. Oh, yes, I believe in you. Absolutely. I believe in you. I know you can do this. And as always, shining my light to brighten yours, and we'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.